we're a little.
Go ahead and start.
All right, call to order UMM meeting, Colonial Hills United Methodist Church, December 9th. Swin, can you start us off this morning with what you do, please?
All right. Scripture comes from First Chronicles 16, 10 through 12. It's called Rejoice Today. Let the hearts of those rejoice who seek the Lord. Seek the Lord in his strength. Yearn for and seek his face, to be in his presence continually. Remember the marvelous deeds which he has done, his miracles and the judgment he uttered. And many people don't realize how important the morning is, especially those first moments of time that we are awake. God calls the sun to rise for us. He is eager for us to wake up and talk to him again. David, the psalmist, talked a lot about mornings, saying, "This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it." That's in Psalms 118, verse 24. David didn't always feel like rejoicing, but he decided to rejoice in God's new day. As soon as you get up, look at yourself in the mirror, smile and say, "I'm going to have a good day because Jesus loved me." And that's the devotion.
Thank you.
Good. Appreciate that. Kind of need to be reminded sometimes to look in the.
Thank you for
Anyway.
bringing
Did Brandy send you a
I didn't get
report
an
or,
update, but I only know of one addition that I'm aware of,
okay,
and that would be for the Ward 24. We've got our first $40 check in.
oh, okay,
That's
that's,
come in.
okay,
What we have is still the same. I don't know of any income or expense that's changed since last month. So our scholarship's still 3,680, 3,680. Operating should still be at 985.72, and then you've got the 40, which should be in a separate little dedicated spot.
yeah, I actually spoke to Brandy about that and just told her,
Yeah.
cause she called me,
Okay.
and was, I'm kind of confused about this, and I was like, they're just pass-throughs, Brandy, don't,
Yeah.
I mean.
She just recorded it.
Right. And she said, and I said, I didn't think about this when I did all of this, but I do realize this is probably making a little more work for you because now you have to record it in one account, transfer it all that kind of stuff. And I told her, I said, if you just want to keep, I don't know, I told her to make it easier for her.
Okay, what she does is she has a
Yeah.
ledger of the income coming in and the disbursements,
Correct.
and she just records it by line item.
Mm-hmm.
And then she must have some separate little code so she can pull the total on that line item. And that's how she makes a journal entry, transfers it. So the system allows her to do that. It's just, she has to know that's what you.
Correct. And then I just explained to her, we don't necessarily need a balance amount of operating expense. We just needed wanted a running total for, or a way to figure out at the end of the campaign what we contributed as a total.
Mhm.
So just to clarify that, and I told her, I said, just make it as easy as it is on yourself with your bookkeeping stuff of how it works. Cause I'm not, every single one that I've dealt with is a little bit different, and what she needs to do is make it easier for her.
Yeah, I'll check with her too. And she just wants me to take the ledger and add them up and give her a little. Give her a little voucher that says transfer. I'll just make it up.
I told her it was just a pass through,
That's
and
right.
if they're tagged or marked on the envelope correctly or on the check. There really shouldn't need to be that because it's already dedicated to an account.
Yeah.
So, I think it'll be fine. But
Oh, yeah. She's got, I think, pretty well used to it because of wages, get a lot of
right,
contributions the same way they're passed through as also.
yeah. Well, like I said,
Not from our group, but
I had to apologize to her because I didn't realize when I did this, it was creating more work for her, but, she seemed okay. So, anyway.
What's another account or two between friends?
Exactly. I mean,
Transfers and transactions.
sure. I mean, it is what it is at this point in time. So anyway. So from last meeting, the donation of volunteer hours to Charles Harrison has been completed from Habitat. He has been able to, I know Charles is not here today because he's attending a graduation at UTSA. But those hours were completed, transferred to him, so he's used them with his employer for use in next year's Habitat bill. So that's been taken care of. Checked with Pastor Dan into the Chosen series that we talked about last time. He said that he probably wouldn't start that program till at least January. And the only reason I'm mentioning this is because we had talked about the possibility of doing some things in conjunction with that. So pretty much, if we do anything, which we'll discuss a little bit later, they're not going to be until January. Till at least January.
okay.
And it possibly could not be until later because just this is kind of a weird calendar year with only 4 Sundays in Advent. It just kind of it leads into some different works. So I don't want to speak for Pastor, but I would probably say that if he starts, it's probably not going to be until late January if he does. Just with Christmas and everything else that goes with all of that on the calendar sets up. But anyway, but we'll see. Whenever he does, we'll be ready for it, I guess. So anyhow. Mr. Larry, I owe you an apology because I was supposed to check with you. So one of the things that came up with Charles and the volunteer hours was to check into if we may have had a rollover or some carryover balance of volunteer hours with Habitat that we could use in other areas. And I got busy with life basically and kind of dropped the ball and didn't check with you on that. So and that's my fault. So the purpose of this was that when Charles came up and asked us for asked if we would mind giving the volunteer hours for providing a lunch to the Habitat, which we all voted on, had absolutely no problem with doing that, especially for all he and you do for Habitat and everything. The question came up of, since we've been providing lunches for some time, is do we have any additional hours that we could use? Because as a board or as a body, we really don't need them. So if we have a balance, maybe we can put them to use somewhere. And I dropped the ball and didn't check with you. So
are you referring to hours that anybody from the congregation volunteers in terms of doing Habitat?
What I'm referring to is the same type of hours that we donated to Charles.
Which is lunch.
with lunch hours.
Hours associated.
Um,
Okay.
We were
and-
credited
and-
with 8 hours.
Right,
Yeah.
and quite possibly we may not. And if we don't, that's fine. Just the question came up is since we have been donating lunches for so long.
Want to go back and count about the last.
No,
20
no.
Years?
No, and no, that's not the purpose, it's just if we do have any that we could use to help someone out, can we try to find and see if we do have them, and then we can donate them to whoever we need to, or kind of at least know that we have some in a balance that if, I mean, I'm not saying we have to give them away right away, but what I'm saying is to know if we have those, if we could give them to someone that needs them at a later time. They may or may not exist because I don't know if they carry over from one year to the next.
The only thing that we have done as a UMM for Habitat has been our lunches.
Correct.
Yes. Now, technically, all of our male volunteers are members of UMM.
Right. Right.
So if we want to get really nitpicking and really want to
Well,
get
question-
hours, I could go back and all the men that have volunteered, on an individual basis in construction.
Well, sorry, Bob, the thing that Charles mentioned was that since we provided lunch for 10 or more people,
Mhm.
it equated to 8 volunteer hours.
Okay,
And that's kind of what we were looking at.
okay,
If an individual is granted volunteer hours for their own volunteer work, then I would say let them ask for them. I'm asking for the body.
okay.
So anyway,
Well,
sorry.
my question was, when I went out and spent a day building,
Mhm.
did I generate volunteer hours that somehow should be, given, or what, I have no idea how these are used or may be used or whatever else, but that was a couple of years ago that I went and built, but I didn't know. Do individuals generate volunteer hours for some collective when they go out there and work?
Charles is the only one that I know that does that because he works for United Healthcare.
Mhm.
And they have a program in which employees that volunteer and they do so over a number of hours, then get credit for that in terms of, in his case, it's $500.
Right.
They donate $500. And it's accumulated over the year for him. So that $500 will go towards next year's bill.
Right.
But he is the only one that I know of among our volunteers who has an employer with that kind of program.
So this is an employer-based program that begins this.
We
Yes.
think so. We think so.
Yeah,
In Charles's case,
Yeah.
that's the way it is. There
Yeah.
now, as you said, as far as you know of, there could be other individuals there that.
we're doing that for some organization or.
Correct,
some other.
or
If so, I do not know.
right, or trying to garner volunteer hours for something, but
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like I said, back to the question that came up with this was, well, since we've been providing lunches for so long, do we have a balance of hours that we could use in another place? And like I said, I apologize. I got busy with life and did not follow up. I did ask Charles, and Charles said to talk with you because you would know. And so that's my fault. So I don't have an update unless you have an update.
No, that's it.
Okay,
I have an update.
you've got an update.
Coffee should be ready.
Coffee should be ready. All right. Those of you that want coffee, that away. Would you? Or conversing with Habitat to see, we're not, I don't think we should, go back and nitpick over the past 20 years or so, but would you mind asking with your connections to see if we may have some of those hours, or if they'll donate some of them for us for the lunches that we've provided? I mean, I'm not,
Well, that would be our call.
okay,
They don't keep track of volunteer hours in any way.
really?
No, they know how many volunteers. Let me back up.
Okay, hold on, let's let everybody come back in here, so, because that's gonna be. That's kind of gonna be the answer to this next question about what we want to do.
Okay.
What would we possibly want to do with the, I guess. The answer to what we could do with the hours would come from what would be granted and in what form.
Well,
And is there something you're looking at to try and make use of this, and how would we?
so specifically to answer, I don't have anything specific in mind, okay? But the thought came to well, first of all, my thought was that Charles asked for 8 hours, but he kind of indicated that he might need more. And then, so my thought was, well, if you need more, why don't we give you more, But it's and last time I talked to Charles, he's fine. He's got all of his hours he needs. He's good with everything. But Charles mentioned the idea that if we have those hours, then we could give them to one of our youth that may be applying for like a scholarship that requires so many volunteer hours. Or we could donate them to whatever we wanted to, but that's just one of the things that he mentioned as far as having some of the hours. Me personally, I'm not necessarily in favor of donating hours just all the time for somebody that asked for them for whatever reason, but I mean,
it kind of defeats the purpose of that person doing.
Correct, and that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It kind of defeats the purpose of that. But if you have someone, a youth, or in Charles' case or whatever, that is working towards something, and is going to be short of some hours or need some hours, I've got no problem donating that way. It's obviously not my call, it's the board's call, because they would be their hour, or the body's call, because it would be their hours.
Have a connection to the group.
Correct.
And so it's not just like out of the blue.
Correct. But regardless of all of that, we need to see if we even have them first. So back to where we were. Larry, if you'll go ahead and say now, because most of y'all were getting coffee when he started bringing this up, and I asked him to stop, so everybody can hear it. So, okay, go ahead.
So volunteers, when they come onto the work site, they sign in. The nominal day is basically 8 o'clock to 2 to 3 o'clock. Probably only 50% of the volunteers stay the full time. So Habitat keeps track of the number of volunteers, not hours.
Okay.
So Charles, in his situation, after each work day, he has to find the volunteer coordinator who is always on site, and she signs a specific form for him.
Okay.
that designates the number of hours he actually worked.
Okay.
And that's what he has to take to his employer.
Okay.
He's the only person among all the volunteers that we've had from our church that has ever done that, as far as I'm aware.
Okay.
So a Habitat organization themselves does not keep track of the
Okay.
hours,
Okay.
only the number of volunteers.
So,
But they have a rough average. They said that if I heard you right, a typical day, volunteers peter off after a certain time, so they have
After lunch.
after lunch. It's the after lunch is the problem. So they've got an idea, a typical day, if there's have 10 volunteers to start the day, they probably got an average that by the end of the day, what they've actually come up with on average.
But as far as I'm aware, they do not. I can ask, but I've never been aware that they actually keep track of the hours. Yeah.
so in other words, it's probably. Number one, it's December, the end of the year. It's probably not worth going back at this point in time to see if we have any hours. Since there's not necessarily a record log, a log of said hours is what I'm saying. We would have to go back and really look at and generate it as we went, basically, is what you're saying. So I would say going forward, we probably just need to keep a record of what we do and
I agree.
and go from there.
So would you like, so let's say that we have 3 members from our church volunteer on a day.
Well,
And do you only want the men?
no.
Okay.
So for example, you know, we garnered 8 hours of volunteer time, service hours for the Methodist Men organization by providing lunch. Okay. I don't know how many hours you or Charles get every weekend by going there, but y'all use those individually for whatever y'all's purposes are, or you don't use them for whatever your purposes are. Though what I'm saying is those individually are completely and totally up to you. Now, I think it's appropriate that we could tell people if you will garner volunteer service hours if you decide to go to the build side and help, and you can donate them to us if you want, so that we can use them, or you can use them however you want to. What I'm saying is that for us as the United Methodist Men body, we probably just need to keep better accounting of what we do from here on out. Or
if you want to just put a note in your file, you can put a note to this extent, is that the men's club took over the lunch from the ladies group. And that's been about 15 years ago, roughly. When the ladies group, not the WOW, but I'm talking about the women of CHUMC, once they discontinued their organization, they made the sandwiches. They gave us they made them. And we started making them as well at the back door for several years until we hit COVID, and then we couldn't do that any longer with COVID. They had to be separate box lunches. So roughly speaking, we've been doing it for at least the last 15 years. Just a rough note.
right. And all I'm saying is that from here on, when we provide them, maybe now that we know, we'll have an appointed person to be in contact with the coordinator so that they can sign deal, and we can put them in a folder and.
So we come up with a form or something? Let's do that.
I'll speak with Charles and see what he does, cause you said there's maybe Habitat has a form or he has a form or,
I don't know who generates the form.
okay,
Yes.
but
That's paperwork, you know, you can keep it in record while.
right, and that's kind of what I'm saying. So rather than go backwards and try to reinvent the wheel, let's just from now forward, we'll go on and.
This is somewhat peripheral but related.
Hmm,
Some of the families will come and they will bring their children.
mhm,
Anybody 14 and older can
right,
participate within limits.
yeah,
So, we had the Danes
mhm.
brought one of their sons, and the Dillons brought their daughter. Do those individuals require points for the youth?
I'll ask Izzy if she has some sort of deal with it. I'm not aware of anything. From what I've been told, we used to require hours for scholarships, but we don't anymore. So, and there again, that could be a situation where the entire family could donate everything to the kid.
This is true too.
So, I will speak with Izzy and see if she has any programs where hours are needed or anything like that. But I know that through some of her activities that the youth garner some hours that they can use for like their high school degree plan, their diploma, because the way certain high school diplomas work nowadays is if you have to have X number of service hours in certain areas and stuff. So I'll talk with Izzy and see. I've got lunch coming up with her pretty soon. And yeah, as far as we're concerned though, we'll just we'll worry about our in the words of the 3-year-old from the I don't know where it was, the video, worry about yourself. So we got enough to worry about. So moving on, holiday potluck. Okay, so guys, obviously we had to postpone this due to previously scheduled events at the church. Matt had the day that we were going to do this, Matt had everything locked up in the church for the part of the Christmas programs and stuff that were going on, and all kinds of stuff like that. So it just kind of wound up to where we were either going to have to cancel it altogether, postpone it, and talk about it again, or I want to say the other suggestion was to just kind of hurriedly do something, and I didn't really want to make that decision by myself, so that's why the emails came out. So the question is, as it comes down to it, we did postpone it. Do we want to even have a get together, bless you, sometime in late January or February, of any type, at a restaurant, a potluck, or anything? Do we even want to do something?
And generally, we've always done something once a year to invite our wives.
Correct.
That's what I think you're really focused on.
Yes.
And that's basically been what we've attempted to do.
Okay. So
You can pick a time where it works out for everybody and do that.
But the holiday time is so busy.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's exactly the problem.
Valentine.
That's another one.
I-
That's a
I'm-
good one. It's a good one too.
I'm open to any dates or whatever. Yeah, Valentine's Day is close to Valentine's Day because I don't have a calendar in front of me, but weekend before or after,
Makes sense.
is that good with it? Actually, I guess I do have a calendar. I got a computer right here.
Right. It was a lot better than we did.
Valentine's Day is on Wednesday.
Wednesday this time.
Yeah.
Weddings Day, okay. So what about,
10th and 11th. Yeah, or the 3rd and the 4th.
I'm going to suggest the 3rd and the 4th. Because the closer you get.
Right.
Or I would say the 17th or 18th. Because the closer you get, the more busy and plans will be, but it seems like for whatever reason. Afterwards kind of goes off, so. How does the 3rd and 4th work with everybody? The weekend of the 3rd or the 4th of February?
The other big holiday is Super Bowl, which is on the 11th.
Well.
I'd have to be at somebody's house because they're gonna be wanting to glue onto the TV.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I've had that before. But a couple people wind up.
Well,
on top or something.
well, in that case, the 3rd or the 4th might work out really
Yeah.
well, because usually there's a 1 week,
Yeah, they're on the
um,
week before.
1 week hiatus between the last 2 playoff games and then the Super Bowl, so.
Yeah.
3rd and 4th may work out pretty good. Or like I said, 17th or 18th.
It was gonna be Valentine's Day. I'd rather go for the 17th, 18th.
Okay,
So that you're still thinking Valentine as opposed to trying to
okay,
pre-think.
so
This makes no difference to me.
17th okay with everyone?
Well, I know.
Okay. So let's reschedule for February 17th. Do we still want to do a potluck, or do we want to go to a restaurant or something? I really don't care, guys. To me, it's just, we just need to get together and have our families with us and that kind of stuff. So, but if we do go to a restaurant or something, I don't mind making the plans. I just need to,
Numbers.
numbers, reservations and
right.
stuff like that. So,
I'd rather go out than have to cook.
Well, Wednesday, the 17th would be a meeting day for us.
You've learned your lessons.
I'm sorry, Saturday, the 17th of February would be a meeting day for us.
no, the meeting would be on the 10th.
Oh, 2nd, not the 3rd? Okay.
Second Saturday.
Well, I mean, because they
Second.
come over.
There you go. I like your thinking. Well, there's something to be said about that as well. If we did want to do a potluck, we could, this is just a suggestion. Instead of a supper, we could do a lunch on the 10th and move our business meeting back to, say, 10:30 or 11, and then have a lunch afterwards. And
Have your wife sitting around. Well,
well, mine won't sit around. She'll show up when the food.
got one car, you don't have a choice.
You are correct. You are correct. I'm just saying it's an idea. But I also understand what you're saying is if you go to a restaurant, nobody has to worry about pots and pans and cleaning and
It's more, yeah.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
So,
that's because the wives wind up doing most of the cooking
Well,
anyway.
well, I like staying married and keeping my wife off my rear end about cleaning and
learned your
stuff.
lessons
So.
too.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
some places, for example, the Golden Corral out here on
Hmm,
410 at Summit. You know, they have a
little
meeting
banquet
room.
room.
Meeting rooms that you can reserve.
That's a nice place.
Mm.
You know, I know our post, American Legion post had it.
And
The,
Cerritos
the
up-
veterans room out in that building.
Cerritos up on, military.
All
In
they
Lock Hill Summer, they have a meeting room.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
well,
Probably.
okay,
probably do
Shred.
what, 14,
Yeah,
how many people in there?
and that room, 20,
Lots.
probably 20 or more.
mhm.
They got a bigger one now. They took over a place next door.
Oh, they did.
Oh, they did.
It, the one I'm talking about, really, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So it's
Plus the
bigger.
one in the back.
It's bigger now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so we'll just do it at a restaurant on the 17th. Do we want to do dinner, or supper? It matters not. I'm more of a supper guy if I go out.
I think so too.
So,
Yeah.
6 o'clock,
Yeah. Sounds good to me.
is that too late or early or,
Yeah.
Um,
We have, the place we pick will have to be one that does suppers.
right, so,
Does Sarita do that?
I think so, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
They do
So-
dinner- They do dinners on it, but something.
Yeah.
well,
February 17th.
You can always go to Mamacita's also on I-10 there.
right,
However, they don't have a separate room. They've
That's
got
true.
one little room. But they'll seat you together if you make reservations.
so let me ask you this, is there any type of food anybody is just absolutely
Or,
do not want? It's easier to say do not want than,
The reason I mentioned the corral.
May I say something? A couple years ago, well, 3 years ago, Cynthia Duval had a get together at Milano's. And that was very well attended. And I don't know, it's Italian. The food's pretty good. It's right in the neighborhood too. Something you might want to consider. That's all.
oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
They've started charging a fee for the room now. A lot.
Oh, they have?
Yeah.
Okay,
Reason I mentioned the corral is, you know, everything's available. You can-
right,
You can pick, you know,
What you want.
big,
oh, yeah,
big buffet, and so that's,
no, I
and I
can,
know the manager.
that's,
uh,
that's even better.
Can you have an area where you can seat together?
Yeah.
It's even better. Well, I tell you what, do you mind taking point on it and seeing if we can,
You wanna do the corral? I mean, it's,
Does anybody have-
I'm not just saying, I'm just saying that solves the problem of menu. But that not necessarily,
no, I don't have a problem. I
things.
mean,
and
guys, KFC is food to me. I don't really care what,
well,
where we're at, but,
a Saturday evening is probably the most premium priced
right,
meal. It's like gonna be $20
well,
for an adult. You know,
Yeah, Cerritos would be the same no matter when.
Yeah, Milano's is gonna be 18, so at least, you know, that's kind of the range right now. At these places, unless you go to.
but they do
KFC.
have kids prices and such.
I don't really
I don't
care.
think they even
I
have
will,
kids.
I will look into if y'all want me to, I will look into different restaurants and have an update of where we can go and finalize things in January, or if y'all are comfortable with Golden Corral and, you know, Bob, I don't really
Well, a
care.
separate room would be better.
Yeah.
I
would be nice,
mean,
wouldn't it?
and
Well,
they have-
if you do the corral and call the managers Rosendo
Hmm,
and ask him if the veterans room would be available for our use. And I think it probably seats 40 people, maybe.
mhm.
Maybe.
And maybe you could consider like a Friday night as well as a Saturday night.
Yeah.
Might be flexible in that respect for them based on their.
But anyway, that's,
Maybe we should ask some of the wives where they want to go.
Any place they don't have to cook.
Well, you know, maybe they have a choice. Well, we can ask them.
All right, let's do it this way.
otherwise experience.
Let's do it this way. I'll look into some restaurants and I will have an update in January. How's that? And then we can decide. I'll have a choice of three different places in January. And going with the parameters of February the 17th at 6 p.m. plus or minus 30 minutes so that we have a time window for the restaurants. Is that okay with everyone? Because sometimes they may want larger parties seated earlier so they can turn the tables over a little bit more. Do we have a max price? Anybody wants no more than $20 a person, or is that okay?
$20 range.
A $20 range,
Probably.
okay, all right. All right, so I will look into,
What's the meeting date on January?
we need to talk about that. So we'll get to it. We need to talk about that because there's some things I need to let you guys know about anyway. New business, and this is where we should go real fast here. Jason approached me about Club Can Do. They're doing a project where they're cleaning up the rooms, cleaning and organizing. Dusting and cleaning is basically what he likes to call it. So he didn't really ask us for any help, but he asked if I would mention it to you guys that if you have spouses or part of other organizations in the church that have storage rooms that need to be cleaned out or straightened up or anything like that, if you or your spouse or associates with those organizations could get in contact with Jason, he'd like to put them on the calendar and, you know, make sure. The one thing that he is asking is he would like for someone from the organization to be there to make sure they don't mistakenly throw something out that appears that might not be useful anymore. They were cleaning some things out of the Christmas closet back in November, and there was a bunch of garland that was about ready to fall apart. So he had it in a trash pile, and well, somebody came over and basically told him he shouldn't throw it away. So they didn't, but he learned his lesson. He wants to make sure somebody's there. So that can be thrown away, that cannot. So if any of you have something like that, get in contact with Jason, please, or tell your folks to get in contact with Jason. Catering, I talked about this. I say catering, it's not catering, it's providing meals. So last time we talked about maybe providing sandwiches or some sort of light meal for the chosen study. Again, not knowing that that's probably not going to start till late January. Is that something that we still want to do? Because the last thing that we said was whenever it starts, then we can basically just call HEB Deli and have some things made up and everything. Not knowing the exact start date, do we still want to try to maybe provide that service to them afterwards?
It might be nice to do it the first Sunday they do it.
Okay,
First Sunday they do it would be a nice time after it's over, like, which would be about 5 o'clock maybe. We could,
Yeah.
if you're gonna do sandwiches, we could just have a table of sandwiches and cookies or something.
sure. And the reason I'm mentioning it now is because it may start before our next meeting. It may start after our next meeting, so I don't wanna, I wanna make sure we still have the go-ahead. Like I said, we talked about it last time, said we would do it. But since it's not starting till later, I just wanna have an affirmation that we are, so. If anybody has a problem with that, I mean, we voted on it last time, so. If anybody has a problem with it, let's talk about it now, since it may come up. If not, we'll just say we'll go ahead, so.
I think it'd be nice about it if Pastor Dan could announce the start of that particular Sunday and say, we're gonna have a light refreshment. The
Oh, yeah.
UMM is gonna offer afterwards. It might help, attract more people to come.
I'm working on it,
Okay, gotcha.
and I'm also working on explaining the tush push, so.
Yeah, but I think they're gonna help a little bit.
Yeah, you did a pretty good job.
For those of you that have read the newsletter and everything, that's in reference to last Sunday's 11 o'clock service. So if y'all were there, you'll understand. If not,
Push.
anyway.
That's something new. I hadn't heard that one before.
Anyway. Next Sunday, December 16th. I did not necessarily volunteer the whole organization for this, but when I spoke with Jason about Jason spoke with me about the Club Can Do. He also asked if we would mind making pancakes and sausage for breakfast with Santa, which is next weekend, next Saturday. Now, the deal is I told him that I would be there because I will still be in town. I realize that other folks have probably made plans, and I'm not asking anybody to change any of their plans whatsoever. If you so choose to want to come assist, please do so. But I volunteered because the pancakes and sausage are basically pre-cooked. It's basically putting them in a pan and putting them in the oven to warm up. And I told Jason that I did not want to commit the UMM as a body as a whole, because I know that that's, some people will be traveling, some people have other things going on. So literally, it really is, if you don't have anything going on next Saturday and just want to get up.
Is Saturday or Sunday?
Sunday.
It's a Saturday.
Saturday.
It's a Saturday morning.
Okay, next Saturday, I'm in transit.
That
Right.
perfectly.
Well, we just take a show of hands, who's in town might be able to do it. I know.
At what time? At what time?
I'm in town.
I'll have to ask.
8 o'clock.
Marty's in town.
So the breakfast with Santa starts at 8:30. We would need to be there about 8 o'clock to throw everything in the oven, basically. And
4 or 5 already.
yeah,
So
and
we'll get it.
What
done.
about the pancakes? Already done?
Yeah, you can buy cakes like you do.
so
I didn't
this,
know that.
yeah, this is what I asked Jason. I said, so they're like those, the Eggo waffles that you
Yep.
put in a toaster.
Oh, okay.
They're very similar to that. You just
Perfect.
throw them in there, and then you throw them in one pan, you throw sausage in another pan. Put about that much water in the sausage, and
You probably don't know this. Here's a guy that used to stir the pancake mix.
all right.
Yeah, that was a job, wasn't it?
What you got, bud?
I can.
Oh, okay, yeah, no,
Or you just show up,
yeah, just show, I mean,
8 o'clock.
I'll be there.
I mean, guys, here's the thing. Look, just do all that, because here's the deal, because breakfast with Santa is probably gonna have a bunch of little kids. Hopefully it has a bunch of little kids, which means they're probably not gonna be drinking coffee. So if you guys drink coffee, I'm gonna talk to Jason, tell him he needs to put the dang coffee maker in the kitchen,
Right, that's right.
because I'll probably get there about 7:45, and
Right.
first thing I'm gonna do is start coffee before I do
exactly.
anything else. So-
Right, exactly.
So if y'all want to come drink coffee with me next Saturday morning, just meet me up here in the kitchen. And those of you that already have plans and everything else, hey, I get it. Jason should have asked us a lot sooner. That's all I gotta say. But
It's gonna be a busy day because that's John Straw's funeral at 11 o'clock.
11:30.
yes, I know.
Keep that in mind.
They, I think breakfast with Santa is over at like 10.
Right.
So,
Should be not a problem.
and they're using the hospitality
Right.
room,
Exactly.
but they may need the kitchen to prepare some things. So,
We should be in good shape.
yeah, I was
I
gonna,
don't know if they do, because everything they provide that I've seen is all brought in.
well,
For the drinks, I think the big thing they prepare for,
it's just
and they've got a problem with their coffee maker down there and the hospitality is not working.
yeah,
So
it's,
they're gonna have to use something else.
it's one of those deals where it's always a possibility is what I'm saying. So we just want to be able to make sure.
Did you say John Straw was at 11, not 11:30?
11 o'clock, I thought.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay.
I believe that's what I saw
Yeah,
too.
11 o'clock's what I heard.
So basically that's all I have. So is there anything from, well, I have one other thing, but it has to do with our next meeting, which we can talk about right before we adjourn. But anyway, does anybody have any new business we need to talk about at this point in time? I know it's kind of late in the year, but
I can't think.
all right, so our next meeting is scheduled for January the 13th. Now,
I'll be traveling that day home. So I will not be available to Zoom or anything.
well, that's kind of what I was going to get at too. So, kind of like I dropped the ball in speaking with Larry about life issues getting in the way of getting busy with things. My father is having some medical procedures and issues that need my assistance with him helping out. So I am basically going to be obligated with him pretty much all the way up through January 22nd. Not necessarily that I mean, I say this, and please keep this in mind, is that he is 85 years old and does not recover from medical procedures as fast as he used to. And these are minor procedures. They're not major, like open heart. He's already done the open heart surgery, so they're not major like that. But they are tentatively scheduled for Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, starting after Christmas. But there are things like cataracts, small orthopedic procedures and things like that. But the tentative schedule could change based upon his recovery time.
Sure.
Okay. So what I know is that I'm pretty well obligated all the way through the 22nd of January. So,
Question. If we had it on the 20th, I could be here to run the meeting here and you could join us by Zoom maybe.
Actually, I can't, because that is he has therapy that day. So I'm either going to be behind the wheel driving, or I'm going to be, I don't know what I'm going to be doing with therapy. Hopefully not a whole lot, but so that's kind of the whole thing. I don't really know exactly
What's happening that we couldn't just cancel that meeting.
Well, I was gonna say. We can cancel, but we talked about, having a choices of restaurants to meet at in February. So I do think that we need to have some sort of meeting now. I don't mind writing an agenda and letting somebody else run the meeting and y'all make the decisions and whatever else. Trust me, it's not all about me. So I don't mind doing that if y'all want to stay on schedule, or if you want to meet on the 20th, then that's perfectly fine. I may be able to join, I may not, I don't know. Or the other thing is we could maybe we could do this on a weeknight after the 22nd. Or on the 22nd for that matter. I mean, I don't, it doesn't really matter to me, but again, you know, it's kind of what you guys think would fit the organization, the body the best. Okay. But
Well, we have one more weekend too, the 27th.
we do. Normally what we've been doing, the reason I say this to keep this in mind is that normally we've been meeting the second Saturdays of every month. Okay, so obviously if we meet the 22nd or anytime thereafter, I think we need to also adjust the February meeting as well, because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to meet one weekend and then 1 or 2 weeks later. Okay, so just keeping all of that in mind. I don't know what everybody's schedule is like in the evenings, or if it's too much of an interruption or anything like that. I'm just open to whatever y'all decide to do.
One
So,
possibility, since everybody gets your letter, does anybody not getting your letter, put it that way, you could actually communicate your choices on the letter and everybody respond back to you.
I could do it. I could do that, but it's probably just gonna be us in this room that respond. So,
And I'm gonna be happy with any of the meals or selections you have.
okay.
Meal's a meal.
Again, as long as you're not cooking, right?
That's right. As long as you're not cooking, there you go.
Well, I mean, I think we still need to figure out, you know, like, we'll know more about the chosen.
May know
series,
some
too.
more about the chosen series, and there may be some things that you know, come across as far as service opportunities, or other stuff like that. So that's why I say I think we do need to.
Kind of stick
Yeah.
semi close to it.
Yeah, I think we need to at least meet and say, you know, we may not need an in-depth detail of what's on the menu at wherever, but I mean, you know, need to at least say, hey, we got this coming up or that coming up and stuff. So I do think that we should meet, but I'm okay. You know, Alan, you said the 27th.
I just noted it doesn't have
Yeah.
to be that for me, but if you want to meet Monday night, the 8th, the 15th, the 22nd.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The 22nd will be the first date that I am certain I won't have an obligation. Between the 1st and the 22nd, I may or may not, because matter of fact, the 8th is one of the cataract surgery days. So
Well, either I think you sometimes run into problems on Tuesdays and Thursdays with meetings here.
That's why I suggested Monday.
Wednesdays and Mondays are your better choices, I think.
well,
22nd's fine with me.
That's fine with me, or our 23rd or whatever, I don't care.
Let's say the 24th.
All right,
Let's say Wednesday, the 24th.
For January?
Yes,
Wednesday.
Wednesday, the 24th of January. And how early is too early and how late is too late? Knowing that we run, these meetings run about an hour. And for you guys, for me, it's not much of an issue. I don't live that far away.
doesn't matter to me.
Doesn't matter to
Anytime
me.
after 5 o'clock, I guess, huh?
Yeah, after 5 or 6.
5:45,
Yeah, 5:45 is fine.
okay?
At 5:45.
Anybody want to bring burgers or hot dogs? No?
I think that would be, no, I don't think so. Because you're gonna run into dinner problems.
Well, that's why I'm asking, so.
And you might be able to just say that's gonna be our February meeting too, so if we're gonna get women together for a luncheon in February.
Well, that's,
Possibly, I don't,
well, that's kind of what I was wondering as well, but we'll,
see what it looks like.
yeah, let's kind of cross that bridge.
Okay.
Cause that, to me, if we're gonna meet in, you're gonna meet that late in January. Probably the 17th would be about the soonest we should meet in February
Yeah.
as well.
Right.
But we can probably, what we probably could do would be to shorten up the business meeting and have it just prior to the meal. All these possibilities. I don't know. Let me think on it a little bit. If we can make that work, we might just make that work. So, all right. So next meeting is Wednesday, January 24th at 5:45 p.m. We're gonna say, and hopefully this is a one-time thing. We'll try to get back on schedule as much as possible from there on out. Motion to adjourn. Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, we are finished at 9:42.
1 hour.
What do you think of?